exactly what he's got with this year's unit. Again, they lose Williams and Schofield. Those two are really the pulse of the resurgence of this Tennessee basketball program. Mocs win the opening tip. We are underway in Knoxville.
When speaking with Coach Paris, the head coach of the Chattanooga Mocs, he said this Tennessee team can be just as good as last year's Tennessee team. A very difficult statement that he made.
Rod Johnson with a little jump hook shot for the first of the night.
Well, he's 6'7", 200-pound redshirt junior, averaging double figures, and it's a nice job of him getting it inside early.
I mentioned the two guards, and here's one of them firing a three that rims off. Evans, now in his junior season, has really elevated his play, averaging 15 points a night.
Yeah, Mike, I thought in the Washington game that Pons and Fulkerson were the two guys that really stood out the most to me, just how much they've improved.
Tough shot by Matt Ryan, who we saw last year donning a Vanderbilt Commodores uniform. He's with his third team now in his final year and has played very well so far for the Mocs.
Yeah, Coach Paris talked about Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was actually on the Notre Dame team that beat Coach Paris when he was at Wisconsin to go to the Elite Eight. He's looking for Matt Ryan to be a leader here tonight on the road.
Turner finds Bowden on a three. And that man continues to be flammable. 57% from downtown coming in, and he knocks down one here.
I like that, Mike, more than flammable, right? Allen Houston-like, Chris Lofton-like for Tennessee fans.
He's bringing back some names now. Tennessee up by a point, quick hands. The steal by the freshman, Josiah James, all the way. And all ball, jump ball, and the arrow will favor the Volunteers.
Good call that time by Jason Baker. And look at this pass. If you're Baptiste on that particular possession, you have to know the scouting report. You have to be there on the catch with Jordan Bowden. He is shooting it as good as anyone in the Southeastern Conference right now.
Ball comes into Fulkerson, another guy who's really stepped up his game now in his junior year, averaging 10.7 rebounds a game. Turner on a runner off the mark.
Yeah, offense a little discombobulated that time for Tennessee. And they're still developing their chemistry this year.
A lot of production from a year ago. Great take. That's some of the nifty ball handling by David Jean-Baptiste. Not just a three-point shooter. He's good on the handle. Talk about what Tennessee lost. Jordan Bone, very productive point guard. Of course, as you see, Bowden hit another jumper. When you talk about Williams and Schofield, Damian, then those are two guys that were such a great 1-2 punch for a number of years.
Yeah, well, and I think Jordan Bowden is going to have to be that guy on the team. He and Turner, but Bowden is going to have to be consistently getting up points. As you see the turnover that time by the Mocs, I think for Bowden, he's going to have to be that guy, kind of like Maxey has to be that guy at Kentucky. You look at Anthony Edwards at Georgia. There's some teams in which they need guys to be productive, and you see the production increase by Bowden as he's been at Tennessee.
Bonds flips it over to Turner. Whip pass down there to Fulkerson, knocked out of bounds. It will remain Tennessee ball.
Okay, Mike, this is early. It's early in the game, but Coach Barnes had lost his voice a little bit. And sometimes when the coach is not at 100%, the team doesn't. You see Coach Rick Barnes, you'll see it on the other end. He's already up, already a little bit more active. He sees that the team is not as sharp, doesn't have the same bounce that they had early in the season like the Washington game. Turner left it short.
Tennessee's biggest win, of course, thus far in this 4-0 start. The win over nationally ranked Washington. Legal screen set by, there you see, head coach Rick Barnes, 32 seasons. A win tonight would pull him within 3 of 700. 24 NCAA appearances, a Final Four while coaching Texas. And, of course, taking this job over at a time where Tennessee basketball was laboring a bit, and built it kind of from scratch, and now back-to-back NCAA tournaments.
I don't know if there's a coach that does it better in this game. He does it the right way with humility, but always keeps his hunger as well. The epitome of what a coach is in college basketball today's day.
Chattanooga, 3 turnovers in their last 4 possessions. This is Ryan up top, guarded by Pons. Steps up for a deep three. Bowden clears it. Off and running. Finds his backcourt mate Turner. Inside Pons, bellied up by Ryan.
That's where Tennessee has to improve, Mike Morgan. I've yet to see, outside of Fulkerson a little bit in the year, consistent inside presence from anyone for Tennessee. Most of it's off of cuts, curling, going to the basket, and perimeter shooting.
Turner, late clock, line pass to Pons. And Pons is caught in a moccasin sandwich, just throws it away.
Every time they step in between the lines, those are the teams that are going to end up on top at the end of the year.
I would be surprised if LSU doesn't make it back to the top 25. You mentioned Florida, who you just saw in Charleston. They are starting to gel with those newcomers, the freshmen in particular, and Blackshear, the transfer from Virginia Tech. Should be another deep year. 15 bids to the NCAA tournament the last 2 seasons from the SEC, and no reason to believe there won't be at least 7 again this year.
You going to stop at 7, Mike?
I'm not stopping at 7. At least 7. I'm not putting the cap on it yet. I'm going to say fewer than 14.
I know you've been spending some time with Pat Bradley, so yeah, fewer than 14.
Yes. I'm as optimistic as anybody. I try to add a little bit of reality there since Turner knocks down a 3-pointer. That's a good sign when Lamonte Turner is hitting shots from outside. We know he can pass.
Yeah, we do. I'll say this, though. What I've seen very early from Tennessee is their inside presence is going to be off of the bounce. It's going to be off of curls and drives. And so it'll be interesting to see. They've got VCU. They've got Florida State coming up. Let's see if the Mocs try to make them beat them from inside out with some type of post presence tonight.
Pull-up jumper off the mark. Fulkerson rips down the rebound. Tennessee up by 4. Jalen Johnson in the game for Tennessee, number 13. And he will not get it. So Bowden. And the legal screen called on Tennessee. That's been a point of emphasis the last few years, and we see another one called here. That'll be on Fulkerson. Chattanooga led by Lamont Paris now in his 3rd season with the program. Longtime assistant under Bo Ryan at Wisconsin. In fact, 7 years in Madison. He told us he still stays in touch with Coach Ryan.
In this basketball game tonight, they got to be decent offensively, but this is the end. They've got to get stops, bear down defensively, and play with a lot of heart and character.
Pons faces up on Ryan, wheels, deals, and finger rolls it in. Pretty move.
Okay, go back to the basket, Pons. I'm sorry.
Now, he's had the body since he arrived on campus. I mean, he is just chiseled.
Yes.
But now he's got some game to go along with that physique. Good defense there. Forces the miss by Matt Ryan. This is Johnson. Pons through the hands of Fulkerson and knocked out of bounds with 13 to shoot.
Right back at you, young fella, going inside with the up and under. The ability to establish an inside presence, in particular with the back to the basket, always elevates your offense because the best shots, I think, are taken when the ball goes inside and out.
Shot clock at 5. Baseline jumper is true for the freshman Josiah Jordan James out of Charleston.
Yeah, he's one of the incredible freshmen that we have in this conference. You think of Anthony Edwards, you think of Isaac Okoro, Tyrese Maxey, amongst the other freshmen at Kentucky. I think Josiah Jordan James is another freshman that, as he continues to go through the year, he will continue to blossom in this league.
First Tennessee McDonald's All-American since Tobias Harris back in 2010. Up top. 3 on the way. Off the mark. And it's Kamwa, the freshman out of Finland. Skip pass into the corner. Pump fake. Ryan lets him go by and then misfires.
I don't mind that shot, though, by the Mocs. A good look if you're Matt Ryan, maybe take a bounce and go for the mid-range jump shot, though.
Bowden to kick off the iron. And with 12 minutes to go, Tennessee up by 6.
Mike, Coach Paris told his team to slow it down, right? Not wanting to get into a track meet. The horses for Tennessee, more athletes, longer, a little bit more talented. Wants to make this a possession game.
Mocs have missed 6 out of their last 7 field goals. Into the corner, sets up a 3 ball. They fire up about 10 a game. They make, I should say, about 10 a game. They fire up much more than that. They are not shy from behind the arc.
Yeah, when I asked Coach Paris before the game, because they like to shoot threes, how he thought the line being back to another foot or so, how that would affect his team. He said for the marginal shooters that aren't that consistent and try to hug the line, they will struggle. And right now, the Mocs have been struggling early. Give credit, Tennessee with the 6-point.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, and from a character standpoint, from the quality of individuals, team had a 3.0 GPA. So that's not a member of the team itself, to show you what type of standard they are holding academic-wise. You can tell that the administration is happy with Coach Paris, already giving him an extension, which helps them for recruiting, which gives them more camaraderie as far as the team on. There's going to be some cohesion and consistency with the coach being there. So he's building a program, and I think the administration is going to give him time to do it.
Last NCAA tournament for the Mocs, 2016, they lost to Indiana as the number 12 seed. They made it to the Sweet 16 right after TOF back in 1997.
Such a critical possession coming out of this timeout here. You didn't have to get a basket, but you need a solid look.
Just 3 for 11 from the field. Caldwell takes it strong. Knocked out of bounds, and it will be Mocs basketball with 1 on the shot clock.
Well, and this can be even more dangerous than if you just missed a shot and it went out of bounds, because for the Mocs, what you don't want is something that happens quick that allows a turnover and the Volunteers get out into the open break.
Baseline shot, return to center. Center, I should say, E. Pons, who actually is second in the SEC, 2.8 blocks. He has another one here.
Well, I can't tell you how many times he's been part of a highlight, whether it was in the Washington game with dunks or getting dunked on, possibly, or going up for a block. This time last year against Gonzaga, he's one of the most exciting players that you'll see in the SEC.
A man who was born in Haiti, moved to France after being adopted at the age of 4. Different player, and this is junior campaign. Look at that. Nice shot there by James, the freshman from Charleston.
Yeah, has such a big body. You talk about bodies, right? You talked about Eve Pons coming in like that. Josiah Jordan James, 6'6", 208 pounds, solid as a freshman.
He was missed almost all of October, was hampered by a hip groin injury. He's trying to work his way back, get to 100% health. Commander misfires straight away.
That's tough. They're just daring him to shoot it.
James, whose father played basketball at Michigan State. Threw it at Pons' knees. Vila. Bullish in the paint. Jump hook shot off the mark. Top floor for the rebound is James.
Like that look for the Mocs. If you're Vila, you just have to converge on that particular play. And Josiah Jordan James called for the offensive foul with that shoulder, the big body. Tennessee fans don't like it. Thoughts, Mike?
Honestly, I don't have a problem with the call. I think he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He'll learn from that.
Yeah.
And again, especially this time of year, they're calling plays like that, freedom of movement. We see more and more whistles trying to make it more of a finesse game, which I think overall has made the game better.
That's a break for Chattanooga, who's 0 of 8 in their last 8 field goals. Matt Ryan's trying to post up a smaller Lamonte Turner. They couldn't get the basketball to him.
Guy's been pretty quiet. Jean-Baptiste needs to heat up. He's not going to do it. Shot rejected.
Too much one-on-one right now for the Mocs. You have to work cohesively. No screens being set. You need to be attached. 5 guys working cohesively as one unit. That's one thing I love about this Tennessee team. Coach Rick Barnes, he runs outstanding sets, which is why you'll see a lot of people try to play the volunteer zones.
Devontae Gaines will check in for Josiah Jordan-James. Gaines, another freshman out of Buffalo, New York. His teammates gave him the nickname Big Ticket in high school. He recorded, listen to this, 3 quadruple doubles as a high school senior. That's ridiculous.
That's why they call him Big Ticket,
Big
right?
Ticket. What was the best nickname for Damian Fishback back in the day?
I don't really have one, but I would have taken Big Ticket too.
We're going to find Fish a nickname. A 10-point lead, Tennessee. And Scottie Pippen Jr., freshman of the week for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt playing an exciting brand of basketball. Aaron Neesmith has been lighting it up for the Commodores as well.
Absolutely. He's a pro, as well as Scotty Lewis, a freshman I forgot to mention a while ago for Florida. I'm anxious to see how those teams continue to improve, as does Matt Ryan coming out of that timeout. Huge shot for the Mocs, Mike.
First field goal for the Mocs in over 6 minutes. Foul on the floor. Fulkerson got grabbed, so Tennessee will maintain it. 7:24 to go, first half.
Before the game, I asked Coach Paris of Chattanooga, I said, what's the key to you winning this basketball game? And, you know, he mentioned how well Virginia plays, how they're holding teams to 40, 50 points, 30 points. And he said, our biggest challenge with Tennessee, I think, is completing the defensive possession with the rebound. Unfortunately, they're getting out rebounded by plus 11 right now. They have to do better.
Lamonte Turner drains the triple. Turner coming in, shooting 20% from 3. He's got 6 points.
So plus 11 is plus 5. And right now, Tennessee looking pretty efficient on the offensive end, even though they only have 19 points here early.
Turner and Bowden both on the floor. They're going to play a lot of minutes this year. Right now, Rick Barnes trying to figure out who else he can add to log minutes at the point guard spot or even the 2-guard spot. Good hustle there by Fulkerson, but it's scooped up by the Mocs. They whip it around. Jean-Baptiste with an open look. Fresh possession. Shot clock resets to 20, and Ryan draws the foul on the floor. First foul on Pons. One of the new rules this year in college basketball, on an offensive rebound, the shot clock resets to 20 instead of 30. I like the rule.
I do too. What I think it's one of the reasons why college scoring is down, along with the 3-point line being extended. These are still college basketball players, right? There's no James Harden and Steph Curry's. LeBron James is out here, Kawhi Leonard's. It's still harder for these guys to create their shot as quickly. They're still learning how to do that.
3 to shoot. And off the window and in. Maurice Commander, the sophomore from Chicago, wills that one in the basket.
Wasn't too hard for him to create that shot, was it?
Chattanooga wanted it over and back. Inside, jump hook shot, rings off. Weak side rebound, Caldwell. Here come the Mocs, alley-oop pass. And stepping on the baseline is Vila.
Yeah, Vila was telling Matt Ryan to throw the bounce pass. And look, I've always heard I'd rather be lucky than good any day. I don't know if he called bank on that jump shot, but it looked good going in.
Turner to Fulkerson. Tried to hit the cutter, but off his knee. That was Kamwa who couldn't handle it.
Mike, one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of turnovers inside with the interior passing of Tennessee, one, because they have a very unselfish team, which is awesome. But two, you don't have that Williams or Admiral Schofield that when they get it inside, they're hunting for that basket.
Steal by the freshman Pember, and then Turner lost it. Now Ryan ahead of the pack.
Beautiful.
Gliding with the left hand, banks it home. He's got 7, and all of a sudden Chattanooga's made it a 6-point game.
Well, you mentioned the word gliding, and that's exactly what he did. He used the basketball and shaded himself so the defender couldn't get in front of him. Outstanding job by Matt Ryan.
Bowden, pretty move off the curl, mid-range pull-up.
He's blue collar, isn't he?
He's blue collar, and his game has evolved. When you think of what Turner and Bowden were a couple of years ago compared to what they look like right now, just different players.
Well, he's a testament to being patient, right? Those guys, there's so many guys that like to transfer when things don't go their way, as you see Commander knocking down another mid-range jump shot. But sometimes you just have to wait and pay your dues until your opportunity presents itself.
Turner around the ball screen. Here's that situation you're talking about. They become a perimeter team, which is okay when Bowden's hitting everything.
Well, listen, he's a guy that you have to trail. You have to be there on the catch. We mentioned that earlier. Some guys, you have to force them to put it on the floor. Bowden's one of those guys that's shooting it with so much confidence, you almost have to block his shot to make him miss.
11 points already for Jordan Bowden. Inside, Villa. Off the mark, Fulkerson harassing him on that shot.
Tennessee reminds me of Virginia a little bit. They kind of call you to sleep. So efficient on the offensive end, continue to get multiple stops until they get hot defensively, and then all of a sudden it's an 8, 9, 10-point lead.
Quick shot off the glass by Olivier Akamwa. Akamwa, native of Cameroon.
Right now, we mentioned that Tennessee looked like Virginia. That wasn't Virginia-like. Miscommunication that time defensively. Outstanding job by Baptiste.
Talking with Rick Barnes, shoot around today, one thing he kept going back to is that, we're still learning. We're still getting better at everything.
That's right.
They lost a lot of production from last year with Bone, Williams, Field. Williams was the 2-time SEC Player of the Year. That's not easy to replace.
I agree. Caldwell that time saved the possession roster. All 14 SEC schools were represented, and at least one SEC player was on 26 of the 30 NBA rosters. That wasn't happening a few years ago. So you have to get to the administration, the Commissioner Sankey, everyone involved, changing the perception and the ending result for this league.
70% of the scoring gone, 65% of the rebounding gone for Tennessee. That's the task at hand for Rick Barnes and this group. Shot clock at 8. Bowden. To Turner. Going to have to launch.
Pons just off with his timing a little bit. We almost saw something spectacular, didn't we?
He had his shoulders on the rim, it looked like. Goodness.
How about the
man, Jean-Baptiste having a very good half. He's only got 4. Final 90 seconds of the first half, and there's a 3-ball knocked down. Kamwa, he's got 5.
Kamwa, I think, has a very high ceiling. 6'8", 224-pound freshman. Very efficient. I think as he continues to get more time, more minutes, he's going to continue to blossom on this team.
Jean-Baptiste now just forcing the issue. Tennessee waiting him. Open 3 for Pons. He's improved his outside shooting immensely this year. Ryan
think the Mocs wanted some type of goaltending against Tennessee.
Caldwell draws a whistle, and he'll go to the line for a pair. A.J. Caldwell, 6'4" sophomore from Sarasota, one of the many transfers on the roster who came from South Alabama. On Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the SEC Nation pregame show will be in Auburn for the Iron Bowl with Laura, Marty, Marcus, Paul, and Tim as they break down everything from the gridiron to the grill. The SEC Nation presented by Regions Bank. I know one guy sitting to my right who's going to be watching that game.
Absolutely. Who you got, Mike Morgan? Inquiring minds want to know.
I gotta go Alabama. Alabama's got a lot to play for.
It's okay. You don't have to apologize for your opinion now.
I love Auburn's defense. Love their defense. Their offense. An oxygen ball fired up by James.
Huge possession before the half. If they could cut this lead to single digits, it would be a huge momentum booster.
Mocs can essentially play for the final shot.
Baptiste or Ryan are taking this shot.
Baptiste all the way. Rejected. Another force. And that's how the half comes to an end. Tennessee will take a 10-point lead to intermission. Jordan Bowden
in his brilliance, right? He didn't get to 24 NCAA tournaments by not being able to change up the way he cooks, depending on the ingredients that he has as a chef or a coach in this particular instance. And now he's got some younger players. He is more guard heavy, and so he's leaning on his veteran experienced guards to produce offense.
One thing the Mocs are going to have to cook up is some more threes. They average 8.5 a game. They only hit 1 in that first half. Shot clock down to 7. Inside it goes. Nice job. Great feed, and the bucket on the other end by Villa.
Yeah, and see, I think that's what they have to continue to do. They didn't turn over the basketball much. They did have 6 turnovers and 0 assists. But if they can keep their turnovers for the game in single digits, then it doesn't allow Tennessee to get out into the open break.
Ramon Villa transferred from Arizona State. Great hustle and save by Fulkerson, but into the waiting hands of Maurice Commander.
Yeah, even though they didn't save the possession, I am a huge John Fulkerson fan.
Jean Baptiste just cannot find it so far tonight. Now 2 of 9 from the field, 0 of 3 from downtown. 8-point game here in Knoxville. This is Turner. Fulkerson hit the deck. He was pushed by Ryan.
We talked about not having assists in the basketball game. Well, here's a pretty one right there. Commander, tremendous vision of spotting Villa on the screen and roll. Pick and roll, the oldest play in the game and still the most efficient.
Yeah, if these two teams met last year, we could have had Commander going up against Admiral.
That's pretty good.
That would have been worth the price of admission.
I'll take that one.
You like that one? All right. Still early in the season. Turner out of 3. Misfires.
Right now, Chattanooga has a little bounce in their step. We talk about some of the upsets all across the country this year. Could we have another one brewing here in Knoxville, Tennessee?
Ryan goes one-on-one. Down, nothing but net. He's got 9, and all of a sudden, it's a 6-point game.
That's a matchup that they like. Matt Ryan, 6'7", has about 5 inches on Lamonte Turner on the interior.
Jean Baptiste just picked up his 2nd foul.
This is where Tennessee's usually pretty good at showing patience. Turner just missed Bowden there on the cut.
Fulkerson, backdoor cut of his own, kicked out of bounds by Ryan. Put the shot clock back at 20.
Lamonte Turner, without question, the vocal leader. Rick Barnes, before the season, continued to commend him on how well of a job he has done in relishing in the leadership role, both vocally and leading by example with his actions.
Fulkerson down low, the hoop and the harm. John Fulkerson from Kingsport, Tennessee. It's been a career full of injuries, foul trouble, but this could be the year.
Well, what I noticed, Mike, was before that play, Lamonte Turner went to Fulkerson. He kind of got on him like he did with some of his teammates in the shoot-around today, as if to say, let's go, let's get it going. He told some of his teammates, let's redo that offensive execution going against no defense. And so he's trying to get the Tennessee Volunteer to form habits here, realizing the type of schedule they have later on in the season.
By the way, you saw Fulkerson shoot that free throw left-handed. I've never seen this before. They have 6 lefties on the roster. Tennessee does. 6 lefties. That's most of the SEC. That might be most in the country.
Could be. You have to guard southpaws a little different, too.
Did you hate guarding him when you played?
It really makes that much of a difference. I mean, wherever you're shooting from, that's where you have to put your hand up, right? This is what I want to see. Can Fulkerson score inside? Yes, he can, big fella. Like that.
Back-to-back buckets for the 6'9" junior.
Averaging 1.79 points per shot. That's pretty efficient.
Take it. Inside. Blocked, but they're going to count it. Goaltend called on Pons. Pons just came off the trampoline for this one.
Pogo stick.
Goodness gracious. 8-point game, under 7 minutes to play, 17 minutes to play here in Knoxville. Down and up top. Slides it into Pons. Bowden on the return. Jacks up a 3. And tapped out of bounds. It will be Tennessee basketball.
So, Mike, that's something else that we don't talk about a lot as analysts, but shot selection is so important because it doesn't allow your opponent to get out and get offensive opportunities in transition, but it also allows you better offensive rebounding lanes. When the ball goes inside out, and when it changes sides of the floor, it allows the defense to get out of position.
Offensive rebound. Pass was dropped and then caught by Bowden. Missed the shot. Pons on the fall had it blocked, and he'll kick it out. A reset to Turner.
Tennessee just doesn't look sharp right now.
Turner wheels, deals, and gets the bucket.
That's what vets do. That's what your leader does. Leading the SEC in assists, but decides to go get the basket itself.
2018 SEC Sixth Man of the Year, and there is Jean-Baptiste with a bucket. He's got 6.
Yeah, moving through traffic like a fullback on that play.
He's built like a safety. Did not play football in high school, did not want to play in college, but he certainly has the bent.
They've gone and gotten them even a year earlier. When you talk about Kyra Lewis, and you look at the assist record, some of the older point guards in this league, Javon McCormick, doing an outstanding job at Auburn. So many guys across the league that are being led by their point guards. No lack of point guard play in this league.
Here you have Turner. He's working on a 10-assist night already, just 1 turnover. And that free throw makes it 10 points. So a double-double for Lamonte Turner with over 15 minutes remaining.
Tennessee extending their pressure a little bit.
Tough take by Jean-Baptiste in traffic. Turner, shake and bake all the way. No, Fulkerson can't get it. Wide open 3. Knocked down. That's the first time we've called Jonathan Scott's name, a senior at Monument, Colorado.
Jonathan Scott, 6'4", 200 pounds. Showed you his ability to knock down the jump shot.
And then he just ran into a Fulkerson screen. Trying to get the license plate number of that one.
Imagine that. Scott only averages about 11 minutes per game, so that's a positive sign for Chattanooga. I'm intrigued the fact that Tennessee tried to kind of pick up the pace a little bit.
And now an offensive foul away from the ball. It's going to go against Bowden. It's going to be interesting what the identity of this Tennessee team is going to be. We know what it's been the last couple of years. You would come and you knew what you were getting. You were getting a team that was incredibly physical, a team that, you go back to last year, they led the league in scoring. They led the league in field goal percentage, second in free throw percentage. And you had the ultimate weapon down low. But you don't have Williams anymore. You are smaller. You're not as deep. You're a lot more perimeter oriented. And that being said, they're still struggling to score points so far tonight. And a big win against Washington earlier. That is their trademark victory thus far. Fulkerson on the back door, bumped and fouled.
And that's why I wanted to see who else could play with their back to the basket. Teams typically like to play one way or the other, Mike, whether that's getting up and down or slowing you down, defending you every possession, and having better shot selection like a Virginia. That's why this Tennessee team reminds me of Virginia. I anticipate as they play, whether it's Purdue or VCU or Florida State, for those teams to try to press them.
It's finally here. You can download the Disney Plus app right now and start streaming the best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic ad-free and wherever and whenever you want them. For more, go to DisneyPlus.com. 6 points now for Fulkerson. The lead is back to 9 for the Volunteers. Sets up Johnson on a three. Rod Johnson pulls the trigger. He's got 5.
Yeah, beautiful penetration. It was good help by Fulkerson, but a late recover that time. Josiah Jordan-James was trying to guard 2 men.
That one went right through the hands of Kamwa. Mox just hanging around. 6-point game. Johnson shot that one off of 1 foot. And Johnson will rebound it. Tennessee has gone cold.
Yeah, crowd getting anxious, right? We've seen upsets. We've seen Evansville over Kentucky. I know everyone's talked about that. The Florida State over Florida, not sure if that was an upset or not. Florida State coach Leonard Hamilton does a phenomenal job every year. Winthrop over St. Mary's. You know, there's been continued to have teams that have upset, and looks like Johnson's going out of the game limping a little bit. That was the good penetration that we talked about. And Johnson, nothing but nylon. Give the Mox.
Two-possession game with under 13 minutes to go. Here's the former Vanderbilt Commodore, Matt Ryan. Thought about it. Fires a deep 3.
Tough shot. Got to make that one.
And a pump foul as Turner hits the deck.
Crafty, one of the oldest plays in the book for young players, in particular if you're a point guard. When you have the basketball in your hand, if you change speeds, whether that's speeding up or slowing down, and the defender runs into you, 9 times out of 10, that foul is going.
Points now for the senior by way of Florence, Alabama.
This is one place where he can pick it up, only shooting 62% from the line this year, where he's close to 80 for his career.
Splits the freebies. The lead is 7 for the Vols.
could be because of the minutes he's having to play this year, too. He's another guy that's a prime example of waiting his turn. Now he's getting all the minutes he could ever want.
And when you talk about Turner and Bowden, I mean, they're going to be logging serious minutes this year. Behind the back pass by Ryan. Inside Villa. And he missed it. Fulkerson fouled on the floor, and that's going to go against Matt Ryan. And that would be the 4th foul on Ryan, so he will go to the bench with 4 fouls.
Well, he really got the
he got the worst of that one. I mean, he takes an elbow to the head, gets called for a foul, and Fulkerson gets free throws.
That's a tough break on Matt Ryan.
You'll take that any day of the week. Fulkerson, meanwhile, starting to heat up here in this second half. He's got 8.
Well, maybe they felt like Matt Ryan broke the cylinder. Maybe it was the cylinder rule foul for Fulkerson, but without question, bad day at the office for Matt Ryan.
Baseline jumper, barely draws iron. There is Villa again. Sets up a 3 for Gene Baptiste. Bowden soaring for the rebound. Finds Turner. And a reset for the Vols.
Mike, the one thing I think Tennessee can improve upon, and the pace of Lamonte Turner really dictates that, is when they can get a little bit more in transition.
How about Fulkerson? Much more aggressive here in this second half. He's got 10.
Yeah, I remember when Fulkerson had a breakout game his freshman year on the road at North Carolina, and the expectations shot up. But you had so much dominance between Alexander, Schofield, and Grant Williams. He kind of played behind those guys. This is his year.
Villa, one too many steps on the walk. But that stanza belonged to the 6'9" junior from Kingsport, Tennessee. Against the Mocs, and they've got a pretty challenging out-of-conference slate in December. And before you know it, we'll be into conference play in early January. One of my favorite times of year.
Let's see if they continue to try to keep going inside to Fulkerson. 100% in the second half with 10 points. Rest of the team only 5, 1 of 9. Like you mentioned, Tennessee seeming to struggle to score, trying to figure out how to score. In that Washington game, I think it was beneficial that they were playing a team that played them zone. This is a team that's well coached by Coach Rick Barnes, so the zone, he's so efficient at breaking that down, and they've got guys who can shoot it, especially when Eve Pons knocks it down from the perimeter.
Well, one thing you never saw Tennessee lacking last year was flow. I mean, they always had an answer. Some nights you're going to shoot the ball better than others, but you always had guys on the floor. You knew where to hit them. You knew where Schofield was going to be. You knew where Williams was.
Eve Pons.
Getting into foul trouble. With expanded minutes this year, they'd like to see John Fulkerson avoid too many whistles. They need him on the floor. Shot clock at 3. And a friendly bounce for Caldwell. Nine-point game as we come up on a 10-minute mark. Bowden missed the bunny.
Least focus I've seen Tennessee all year.
Bowden 0 points here in this second half. Chattanooga hanging around. Gene Baptiste draws the foul.
You know, we talk about Tennessee defensively. Here's a time where you see Commander. You see here, look inside when you look at number 3 in white. He's trying to help down before Fulkerson recovers. Let it go. And as Fulkerson tries to recover, that's when you have him try to close out Drew Pember, but he's there a little bit too late, which allows the jump shot. The screen and roll, Mike, one of the most challenging plays in the game of basketball to guard, in particularly for guys that are coming out of high school as well. And that's what I mean when you talk about these are guys that haven't played together, like Kyle Alexander, Jordan Bone, Admiral Schofield, and Grant Williams had played for 2 and 3 years together.
8-point game. Fulkerson posting up. Turner kicking it out. That's the freshman Pember reeling it in. To the hands of Pons and back to Turner. Pons wants it down low. 5 to shoot. Pons. And a whistle. A foul on 25. Justin Brown. Pons was coming right at him, and Justin Brown said, I'm not backing down, big guy.
Well, this is a nice job of just trying to explode to the basket. Brown got a lot of ball on that particular play. But give credit to Pons for attacking the rim. One way to get to the free throw line is to go. There's a lot of guys, Mike, who have improved throughout the conference this year. Samir Dowdy stepping out for Auburn. Kyron Lewis, even though he had a sensational year last year, I think is playing even better with more confidence. Emmanuel Quickly over at Kentucky has had an outstanding year. And Tyson Carter at Mississippi State having a fabulous year at the point guard position as well.
Yeah, pretty soon they're going to get Nick Weatherspoon back, which will help that backcourt immensely in Starkville. They've already got one of the best in the country, and Reggie Perry. Adu is a great rim protector. It's a lot to like in Starkville this year. Caldwell. And Bowden rips down the rebound for Tennessee.
Tough shot that time for Caldwell. Just a little long. The good thing for Chattanooga is they haven't done a horrible job of getting rid of the basketball. Only 7 turnovers, which has kept Tennessee out of transition.
Fulkerson draws the contact. One thing you're never going to lack with John Fulkerson, effort and energy.
Well, when you talk about most improved players, you have to mention John Fulkerson in that conversation. Some guys, though, and Tennessee's a good example. It's not even the fact that they improved as much as it is they have an opportunity this year to display more of what they can do. Jordan Bowden, John Fulkerson, and Lamonte Turner, they're a prime example of that.
A little bit of fatigue on those free throws, both missing on the front end. So it's still single digits. The Mocs not going away anytime soon. 8.5 to play here in Knoxville. Commander whips it in the corner. Down low, Vila. And out of bounds to Chattanooga. Ryan, by the way, back on the floor right now for the Mocs with those 4 fouls.
I like the move. Right now, Coach Paris is saying, if we lose it here, then we're out of it. He's going to trust the veteran, Matt Ryan, to try to play this game between the ears and be smart enough not to get that 5th.
Vila. Not a great shot. Bowser's got a double-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds. So both guards for the Volunteers working on double-doubles. Turner spinning, firing, missed it. And there is Ryan on the weak side glass. Ryan squaring and firing. Shot that one right between the eyes of Bowden.
Yeah, he's got the freedom. Just a tough shot. It's one of those shots where if you miss it, the coach is going to tell you to be more patient. If you make it, he's going to say, good shot.
Tennessee hasn't hit a field goal in 4 minutes. James on the offensive glass. Shot clock at 7. Turner's going to have to fire. Actually, little pocket pass to Fulkerson, who got bailed out with 1 doubles on the same night. They recently hit the 1,000-point plateau of their respective careers on the same night. And now they're double trouble on the same night.
Well, they are, Mike, but I'm convinced that as this year goes on and teams begin to focus even more on those two guys, the surrounding role players, whether that be Yves Pons and John Fulkerson, who really stepped up along with Josiah Jordan-James in that Washington game, are going to have to step into the forefront, because teams are going to clamp down on this backcourt of Lamonte Turner and Jordan Bowden. That I can guarantee you.
Jean-Baptiste, aggressive. And might have been some contact there. A late whistle. One thing, head coach Lamont Paris was fired up. He's about to take the jacket off. The tie is sideways. That's a man that believes he did not get a call. Look at that. That tie is, it made a right-hand turn. And it's underneath the jacket as Fulkerson knocks it out of bounds.
Well, it's kind of built up. He had Matt Ryan that was in a situation where he got elbowed and got the foul called on him. He felt like there was some goaltending in the first half that he felt like he didn't get called. John Fulkerson isn't worried about it. Good hustle. That's what you're looking for, and Tennessee fans appreciate that. Fans all through the Southeastern Conference appreciate it when you give everything you have.
I know one thing, if Fulkerson wore a tie, it wouldn't stay on for long. He's just too active for anything to stay in place for long.
I love guys with high motor. Give me a high motor guy every single time that can defend, rebound, set screens, run the floor. That's Fulkerson.
Out of bounds. They try to hit Fulkerson with a lob pass down low. You know, you mentioned Josiah James, talented freshman. He's been kind of quiet tonight. McDonald's All-American, immense talent. There's a 3 knocked down by Turner. Yeah, maybe that'll spark the crowd a little bit. He's got 15.
Pretty basketball, nice execution. The out-of-bounds underplay by Coach Barnes.
And a reach-in foul on Bowden.
The most dangerous man is the guy who makes the pass offensively. Lamonte Turner made the pass, and then the defender fell asleep just for a little bit, which allowed him to get open off of the screen.
Shot clock under 10 for Ryan. Ryan puts it on the deck, lost the handle. Tennessee with Bowden racing into front court. And thrown out of bounds, but deflected off of the Mocs. It will be Volunteer basketball. Lead swells to 14, and now Fulkerson on the alley-oop. Around and down for his 14th point of the night.
Outstanding execution. Justin Brown turned his head just for a split second, which allowed that tremendous pass by Lamonte Turner.
Scott with a silencer, a 3, and a quick timeout by the Mocs. Out there and you're thinking, it's hard to be productive, and sometimes freshmen have to think because they're still learning so much at one time.
I would agree. So many quality freshmen across this league, and we saw some across the country. I think this league can compete with any league amongst the freshmen, though. I think it's interesting when you look at Kentucky, and Coach Cal talks about the fact that they didn't know Tyler Hero was going to be as good as he was going to be last year. I think there's some freshmen in this conference that are going to be similar to that blossom as the year goes on.
Jordan blossoming, the senior now with 13. That bucket off the curl, the lead is 15. Fulkerson with a block. Fulkerson Might have gotten another one. He's already got 14 points in the second half. There's the freshman James drawing the foul.
Well, when you talk about teams that defend you every possession in this league, you have to look at the Tennessee Volunteers. Tremendous block and good battle.
And Matt Ryan has just fouled out of this game, so a tough loss for the Mocs. Their best shooter out of this game with 9 points. And Tennessee trying to tack on to a 15-point lead. Better days ahead for the former Vanderbilt Commodore, Matt Ryan. The way they got Matt Ryan was very interesting. It was a 3-hour conversation with head coach Lamont Paris, who got in his car and drove to Nashville. Matt Ryan noticed Coach Paris didn't eat a single thing. He just sat there and talked the whole 3 hours trying to sell Matt Ryan to come to Chattanooga. The sales pitch worked.
It's amazing in athletics how often players like
inside Pons, whip around pass, great ball movement, sets up a Turner three. No, Pons at the free throw line for a pair. One of 6 lefties on the Tennessee roster sinks the first one. And 2 for 2. Largest lead for Tennessee, 15 points.
Of tradition. Mocs have won 10 Southern Conference tournament titles and 10 regular season titles. And we talked about their run to the Sweet 16, so a lot of pride in this Chattanooga, Tennessee matchup tonight.
Good job breaking the pressure by Tennessee. 12-point game. Clock is the ally of the Volunteers with 3 and change remaining. Off a curl. Turnaround jumper, rims off.
Game not out of reach from the Mocs right now. Tennessee's just so stingy defensively.
Jean-Baptiste dribbled it off his knee. But that kind of night overall for a guy who's going to be one of the more productive players this year in the Southern Conference, but Jean-Baptiste has struggled.
He certainly has, and that tends to happen as you make your mark in collegiate athletics when you move to the top of that scouting report, as he has done. Give credit to Tennessee. Their defense has been stifling.
Turner spinning, throws it up with the left hand. No, gets his own rebound. That's a deflator for Chattanooga.
And that's a veteran point guard realizing the clock is his ally, wanting to use up 20 seconds now.
Bowden slashing. James tapped up, no. And finally scooped up by the Mocs.
Tennessee just plays intelligent, high basketball IQ from start to themselves.
Tough shot that time by Jonathan Scott, who's got 8.
I'm impressed with Jonathan Scott. Would have been his first off of the bench.
And that'll be a walk on Pons of Tennessee.
There's a minute 45 left to go in this basketball game.
At no point Tennessee been able to just kind of put the nail in the coffin.
They really haven't. You have to give Chattanooga a lot of credit for battling for 40 minutes.
He got the whistle and he got the basket. Or did they wave it off? Caldwell just threw up a prayer after seeking the contact, but they're going to say it was on the floor.
That could have made things very interesting. Wow. That was almost like a horse shot. I'm going to shot fake, slip and fall off the glass.
Vila, return to sender by Pons. The SEC's second leading shot block artist rejects another one. 7 blocks tonight for Tennessee.
If Tennessee is fortunate enough to get this victory tonight, it will be a much bigger challenge against the Florida State Seminoles. I think they're a top 25 team. Austin earlier in the pit, we saw what they did against Florida. But they are long, they are deep. They've had to deal with some injuries. Coach Leonard Hamilton, 7th most wins in ACC history.
And Rick Barnes, the great coach that he is, will use this game, even though it's probably going to turn out to be a win, as a teaching moment, Damian. There's a lot of things to work on after tonight.
The challenge that you have is you only have 4 days in between. Now, I guarantee you they have plenty to work on in practice, but the Seminoles will be here before they know it.
If Tennessee holds on, it will be their 30th consecutive win here at home, and that is the nation's longest home winning streak.
Tough to do. Tough to do. Takes a lot of credit.
In late January, they draw the Kansas Jayhawks. So Tennessee is going to be tested at a conference. There's going to be no problem with some RPI, BPI builders in terms of strength of schedule.
Sure, formidable schedule by any measure. And for Tennessee, they will be tested. I'm anxious to see them against a Florida State and a Memphis. I thought Memphis did a nice job of wearing Ole Miss down, even though Ole Miss fought back in the second half. They lost by 1 point, but they really made Ole Miss play at a speed that I didn't think they really wanted to play it, even though they have a nice backcourt. I think that's what Florida State tries to do with this Volunteer team in their next game.
Turner and Bowden, we highlighted them at the top. They both put together double-doubles tonight and are out to a victory 50.